Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the May 22nd, 2025 meeting of the Village of Pinehurst Historic Preservation Commission. To remind those who are new to it, the purpose of the commission is to decide applications for certificates of appropriateness for new construction or major work within the Pinehurst Historic District, and to do so by conducting hearings and making findings of fact when such applications come before us. By law, the Commission is directed to take no action except to prevent construction or alterations that would be incongruous with the special character of the Pinehurst Historic District. My name is Richard Vincent. I'm the chair of the Commission, and I'm going to ask each commissioner, and I'll start on my left, to state his or her name for the record.
Joe Iverson.
Kara Mathis.
David Herring.
Thank you. We have Justin Bramlage and Angelique Fabiani are not going to make it tonight, and Paul Roberts as well. They're absent, but we still have a quorum, so we can still proceed. Also present from staff is Michael Mandeville, and he'll be presenting all three cases this afternoon. Our first order of business is to review and approve the minutes from our last meeting. All commissioners have been provided with copies of the draft minutes. This would be from the prior meeting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the March 27th.
The March meeting, okay, thank you for that. Assuming all commissioners have a chance to review, and if there are any questions or changes to those minutes from the March meeting? Seeing none, is there a commissioner, or may I have a commissioner make a motion to approve?
To approve.
Thank you, Joe. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from David. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, none opposed. Thank you. With that being done, we will now, I'd ask for a motion to enter into the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Kara. Second from David. All those in favor?
Aye.
Seeing none, motion carries. We are now in the public hearing. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, and that means that anyone desiring to testify must be sworn in, and the commission is required to consider only the facts presented in this hearing. The proceedings are also video recorded, so I'd ask anyone who's planning on speaking, whether it be from the public comment or any applicant, if you can talk clearly and as loudly into the microphone as you can so we can pick you up on the audio, because again, these are video recorded. I'm going to ask each of the commissioners if they've visited the three sites on the docket today, and also whether they've had any ex parte communication with respect to any of the cases that we'll be reviewing and considering today. I'll start with you, Joe.
I have visited all three sites, no ex parte communication.
I've visited all three sites, no ex parte communication.
I visited all three sites, no ex parte communication.
Visited all three, no communication.
Thank you. Okay, for the hordes of people who are in front of us, bear with me and be patient here, because this is a little bit of rambling here on our standard process, but it's important that I walk you through it. So in each case that we will hear this afternoon, staff is first going to present the case. They'll present a summary of the application, and then their evaluation to the extent of which that application complies with our standards, the commission standards for such an application, or if it raises any issues that require further information. The staff's comments on the application, and then also, where appropriate, their recommendations for commission action. The application and its supporting documents, as well as the staff's report, will then be entered into the record. Commissioners will then have an opportunity to question staff about the report and staff testimony. And then next, we will have the applicant up if the applicant wants to add anything. It could be the applicant or their representatives, and they will have an opportunity to provide any additional information supporting the application and to address any questions or issues identified in staff's testimony. Commissioners, us, will then have the opportunity to question you, and question you and your testimony. After that, after the applicant's presentation, if there's any member of the public who wishes to present any evidence, either in support or in opposition to the application, this will be their opportunity to come forward and have a chance to present themselves. I will swear them in and give them an opportunity to present any reasons why they believe the application should be granted or denied. As a reminder for anyone from the public who plans on speaking, this commission is interested only in the facts that will help us decide whether proposed work would be congruous with the special character of the Pinehurst Historic District. And that's the key. We are concerned with whether it is congruous with the special character of the Pinehurst Historic District. As chair, I have the right to exclude any testimony that isn't relevant to the subject, but I'm also not required to do so. Commissioners will then have an opportunity to question you about your testimony, and if the applicant or staff wishes to respond to your testimony, I'll also permit them to do so. So there we go. That's our process. We can proceed to our first case. I'm going to go ahead and, Michael, I'll swear you in. If you raise your right hand, and if you could say your first name, spell your last name.
Michael, Mandeville.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give to the commission with respect to the 3 cases on our docket today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you're ready,
Go.
let's go.
Good evening, everybody. Our first case is 15 Page Road. Our applicant is Michael Sorensen. The owners of the property are David Osborne and Melissa Otero Cruz. They are requesting a major certificate of appropriateness for the replacement of the garage door and the front door, also painting the house and trim at 15 Page Road. The house and trim painting could be approved as minor works, but it is part of the application. They also had some front porch lights as part of the application, but that is not required. It's basic maintenance, so I just wanted to clear that up. So like I said, they're looking to replace the garage door and the front door and paint the house and trim at 15 Page Road. This property is identified as Moore County PID number 000-22524. It was built in 1979, and it is on a 6.48 acre property. Or sorry, 0.648 property. The applicant is, the paint colors are allowed in our color palette, so they're 2 Sherwin-Williams high reflective white and tricorn black. And like I said, this could be approved as minor work, but it's part of the application now. So the major work is replacement of architectural details, and that changed the design or materials for the existing details, and minor works not approved by the village planner. And as you can see, here is the property in the hatched parcel, and these are the adjacent neighbors that were notified. And here are the current conditions of the home, of the front door and the garage. This is what is being proposed to replace the front door and the garage. And these are the colors. Like I said, the tricorn black and the high reflective white. The white will be the majority, the black will be the trim, and they are both approved colors on our color palette. The applicant has submitted an application and provided additional documentation in an attempt to satisfy the burden of proof. The commission will need to determine if replacing the front door and the garage door is congruous with the historic district and meets historic district standards. The painting of the house exterior and trim is considered minor work and could be approved by staff. At this time, staff would like to submit the following into the record: the staff report with attachments and exhibits, the presentation and an application, and the applicant's materials and exhibits. And I will take any questions, if the board has any.
Really what's before us is the door, the garage door and the front door.
The doors, yes.
But in which we appreciate, in full transparency, we're seeing all the work they're doing on the exterior as
Yes.
a whole, but the majority of it would be handled as minor work.
Yes, in that situation, we just ask applicants to put it in one, so we don't have them submit a minor COA and a major COA. So we just have them bundle them together and let you know what's minor and what's major.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for staff? Okay. Seeing none. Thank you, Michael. Without objection, the materials referred to by staff are admitted into the record. There's no questions from the commissioners of staff, so if the applicant is here, this would be our opportunity to allow them to come up and add any additional color or detail to the application. I'm going to have you, yep, no, please come up. I'm going to have you state your first name, spell your last name, and then I'll swear you in.
Michael Sorensen, S-O-R-E-N-S-O-N.
Okay, thank you. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give to the commission with respect to this application shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. So you've had a chance to hear staff's presentation, and you would love to hear anything additional you would like to add?
The client is just interested in improving the overall aesthetic and curb appeal of the home. It's got a older wooden garage door that's been painted and is in bad repair. He doesn't want an aluminum door, and he really is fond of walnut, so we're building him custom walnut and front door. One thing, I didn't myself submit that application. One thing he does want is a side light. There are existing side lights in the opening. I don't know if we can return to that picture, that have been paneled in on the sides with composite material. He would like to go back to having one side light on, as we look at it, the right-hand side of the door.
Okay. There may be some questions on that. I'm remiss. Your relationship to the application is you're the...
I'm the general contractor.
The general contractor. Okay, thank you.
We consider that.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's, the applicant is requesting to make a modification.
So the lights, it falls under basic work and maintenance, so that's, doesn't even take an application.
Well, he's talking about the side light and the door, like where those two panels.
Where they've been paneled in.
Yeah, on either side. Looks
They're-
like they took a door and split it in half.
They're painted, they're not glass.
Yeah.
They're painted wooden panels now.
Okay.
And I think
So
from,
he's gonna move the door over and put glass, right, on one side.
On one side.
Let
right
let me,
door
let me
was
be
the
clear, I
plan.
understand, if I may. Did I hear you agree that you intend to move the door, I presume, to the left?
That was the drawing that he preferred.
Okay.
He is also very flexible. If that's problematic, then we will
No.
right where it is.
And thereby making the side light twice as big as the two current wood panels.
No, because the door size that we're going to be using, it's a pivot door, and it's 44 inches, I believe.
Okay. Somewhere in between the size of the wood panel and twice that size.
It will be bigger than the individual panels now, but not twice as big.
And only one. It'll only be on the right side.
Will there be any mullions, or will it be a single piece of glass?
Just single piece of glass.
Thank you.
the questions for the applicant?
So I think this is a change to the application, because this was not submitted.
Yeah, it could-
And this would be, change the architectural details of the house. So I think we would not be able to, unless, if they're asking for a change in the application, we would have to come back next month with that.
I would, at this point in time, I'd like to just approve just the door then.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Hey,
We-
I'm fine. I know enough. I got the picture.
And we can handle it, we can reference it in a motion, and we
Okay.
can handle it as a condition, and,
Okay.
so we can handle it that way.
That's fine.
It sounds like what you're leaning towards is just replacing the door as is and putting some sort of composite material framing out the, if I'm looking at it, the left side and then replacing the right side with glass, a single pane.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not quite what I understood.
Yeah, I think there's a willingness to work this out. I think we just
Yep.
need to make sure we're on the same page as what the final look's gonna be.
Right.
And
We can,
Ask a question again.
sure. My understanding is, let me know if I'm right or wrong when I get done. First step, remove the wood panels
Mhm.
and the door. Second step, put in a new door with hinges all the way to the left of the brick opening. And to the right of that, filling the adjacent space with a single piece of glass.
that is correct.
We're good.
That door, as we see it now, is getting probably a third wider. Is that a fair? Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. You can
Thank
take a seat. We appreciate it. If there is any member of the public who wishes to present any evidence, either in support or in opposition of this application, this would be your opportunity to come forward and identify yourself. Seeing none, we will continue to move on. Okay, we can officially go ahead and close the record in this case, and the commissioners will deliberate if needed. Is it needed?
Not by me.
Joe?
No.
Is there a commissioner who would like to make a motion?
Happy to.
Thank you.
I move that the Historic Preservation Commission approve a certificate of appropriateness and find that the proposed major work at 15 Page Road is consistent with the Historic District standards and is deemed congruous with the Pinehurst Historic District based on the testimony given, the material submitted, the findings of fact, and one additional modification not shown in the photographs or drawings. The front door will be replaced with a new larger front door with its hinges all the way to the left of the brick opening. The remaining area of the brick opening will be filled with a single piece of glass side light to the right of the larger door.
Thank you. Motion made by David Herring. Is there a second? Second from Joe Iverson. All those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Congratulations, you have your COA. Thank you. Okay, moving right along.
All right, here's our second case of the night. This is for Mr. John and Cynthia Strickland, 6 Village Lane. They are asking the board to consider a request for a major certificate of appropriateness within the Pinehurst Historic District for the removal of 3 trees at 6 Village Lane. The property is identified as Moore County PID number 28647, and the owners are John and Cynthia Strickland, and the applicant is Mr. Strickland. Like I said, they're asking for the removal of 3 trees in their front yard. This primary structure was built in 1997 and is plus or minus 0.471 acres. The removal of healthy trees 12 inches and larger in diameter at breast height along the front of the house that are not located in the right-of-way. As you can see, here is the subject property with the neighbors that were identified, the adjacent property owners. Right here is an aerial shot, and the front bigger circle is where 2 of the trees are located, and the smaller circle is where 1 is that's kind of adjacent to the front left corner of the house. And as you can see here, the photo on the left is from the front of the house facing out, and there's these two trees that are proposed out front, and the middle picture is from the street, and you can see the trees, and this is the third one's kind of a side view, and you can see all 3 of the trees that are asked to be removed. The applicant has submitted an application and provided additional documentation in an attempt to satisfy the burden of proof. The commission will need to determine if the removal of trees is congruous with the historic district and meets the historic district standards. At this time, staff would like to submit the following into the record: the staff report with the attachments and exhibits, the presentation, application and applicant's materials and exhibits. And I will take any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Michael. Without objection, the materials referred to by staff are hereby admitted into the record.
Can I just ask a question? I just asked you, but, so we're concerned with all trees 12 inches or more, not just pine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no
It's the
caliper, it's the
yeah,
12-inch
it's
caliper
the
that we deal
12
with.
inch, and yes, these all fit the 12 and above criteria.
No arborist report or anything like that in addition to this? I assume it would have made it in, I just wanted to ask.
No.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? Okay. We know the applicant is here. John, why don't you come up?
Good afternoon.
First name, and if you can spell your last name, although we all know it. and
First
then I'll
name
swear you
John,
in.
last name Strickland, Strickland.
Thank you. I'm going to have you hold up your right hand. And do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give to the commission with respect to this application shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah, so you've heard staff's report. Tree cases typically end up being fairly sensitive, so whatever color you could add, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, thank you very much. We did supply photographs and some comments to Michael. I know they're in your packet. I would just make a few comments in support of what we're trying to achieve here. Basically, what we're struggling with is a sunlight problem for the yard to keep the grass and the shrubbery growing, and also some dead wood that's falling from the oak trees, which we intend to limb up or to take out. Trees to be taken out would only be those that would be affecting the shade problem we have in the property and would allow sunlight to come onto the property the way we'd like it to be. For example, recently we cleaned all the brick curbing on this driveway. You can note that in some of the photographs because it had become dirty and a lot of moss in it from the shade that's there, and we're not getting the sunlight that we really need. I did want to make a couple of specific comments. You're, in meeting your applicable standards, the tree canopy, according to the Commission's rules, cannot be affected in a way that would disturb the historic nature of the property. I think if you study particularly the Exhibit 1.3, which was the overhead shot, maybe you could bring that up, Mike, you'll see that the area where the trees are that we would be taking out are amongst a continuing grove of trees, and at least from my perspective, I don't believe that it will disturb the historic nature of the property. The other point I would make is this: in trying to determine which trees to take out and really to solve the problem of light into the property, we've checked the land at different times of the day and evening to figure out where the trees are blocking the sun. And it was pointed out to me just in the last 10 days since submitting this application by one of the tree persons we're working with, that rather than the 3 trees within the circles you see, there is one tree to the far left, that would be your right, the east side of the property, just to the right of the large circle, that might be better to take out than one of the 3 trees in the circles that you see there. And if I draw your attention to Exhibit 1.6, Mike. Yeah, that's a picture from the house to the street. The earlier ones were the other way around. Those trees to the left, right in there, one of those might be better to take out than one of the other trees that we've signified. So if there's ability to have a little flexibility to remove no more than 3 trees, but to possibly do one of the ones from the left I'm sorry, to the right of the driveway, I'd appreciate that. So we would not take out more than 3 trees, but we might want to move to take one from the other side of the driveway. It's a little bit smaller tree than the others there, but nevertheless has a large canopy on the top. So with that difficulty and that discussion with the tree surgeons and tree removers, I thank you for your time and wish to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Fellow commissioners, any questions?
Nice to see you at that podium.
Always good to see you at that one. I've been there and done that too.
The flexibility you're requesting, and I know it's just a request, but for us doing our site visits, it's sometimes hard because we look at the 3 trees to be removed on the request and don't really pay too much. We would look at the canopy, we'd look at things like that, but not necessarily something on the edge of the property line. Are those trees over 12 inches of caliper? Have you measured them?
The trees on the other side of the property?
Smaller
Yes,
ones
they would be just barely, but yes, 12 inches, I would think. One of them, the larger of them is probably 12. The other ones might be smaller. But we intend to keep the property in a shady manner, but we're trying to get sunlight in to support the grass, which hasn't been doing too well the last several years, among the other things.
Yeah. Well, our exact verbiage for our fellow commissioners is must not unreasonably compromise the tree canopy. So, I think we've had cases where there may be a single tree in this center driveway and someone wants to cut it down, but in this case, from my position, there's 4 on top of each other. And, removing one, at least from my perspective when I was there, didn't impact 1 or 2, didn't impact the canopy for me. There's still plenty of trees on this property and a healthy canopy.
Discussing now? Or
No,
okay.
if there's any questions, if there's no questions for Mr. Strickland, I'll let him have a seat, and if there's anyone from the public, we can see what they have to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Having had a chance to hear from the applicant, let's see. Is there any member of the public who wishes to present any evidence, either in support or in opposition of this application? This would be your opportunity to come forward. Being none, we'll continue to move on, and we will go ahead and close the record in this case. Commissioners will deliberate if needed.
I think my my main observation is when I went down to look at this house, I couldn't find it under the canopy. There's so much canopy. So I kind of have a similar thought that you would have to cut down quite a few trees to affect the canopy, especially on this property, let alone in that whole little circle.
My thoughts are that, I'm looking at canopy, I'm generally looking up to see, particularly for old growth trees like these where most of the foliage is way up in the air, so the canopy likewise is way up in the air. I would greatly prefer saving one of the 2 trees in the island in favor of cutting down one on the right side of the property. But otherwise, I agree with the other commissioners. There's plenty of trees up in that area. When you drive down that street, it's loaded. I think a tree or 2 missing would hardly be noticed. So if you move to save one of the trees in the island, very much appreciate it.
The request is cut down 3, so that's what we're deciding on here.
Well, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying is save one on the island in favor of cutting down, in lieu of that one on the right side of the property.
And is there a request for which one, or just save
No,
a tree and save a number?
My preference, I'll vote in the affirmative either way.
Joe, any questions?
Yeah, I agree. Save one on the island, that's fine.
Okay, I'm not opposed to that logic. When I was there, that island has a dogwood, 4 of these mature trees. To me, they're all on top of each other. if you were gonna save one of the three in question, it'd be the one on the driveway further out on the left. But that probably defeats the purpose of creating more sunlight, because it looks like that one blocks the most sunlight.
Yeah, I kind of like that other tree. I thought, when I first looked at it, I thought that was the one you were looking to cut down, but clearly that's not right. But
So in the-
I'm a yes either way, up to the applicant.
And so if we phrase this, it's you can cut down 3 trees, and it's up to your,
I'm not,
I'm-
I'm
I
not
wanna
ready
go
to write a
Davis.
blank, I'm not going to write a blank check, just
Yeah.
as I stated, the applicant has suggested 2 options, and I'm in favor of those 2 options.
okay, yeah.
Okay, but what we would be approving are the 3 trees that are pointed out here if someone makes that motion. If not, then we need to be clear as to what direction we're,
Can
Yeah,
we add the
I think we
condition?
can make a condition
Yeah.
that, essentially, my vote would be to agree with the applicant's request to have that small flexibility.
Looks like David's making a motion again.
as long as the applicant's leaving here and they have perfect direction. I've closed the record in the case. Okay.
Joe, you want to try it?
Yeah. I move that the Historic Preservation Commission approve a certificate of appropriateness for OA 2025-00053 and find the proposed major work at 6 Village Lane consistent with Historic District standards and deemed congruous with the Pinehurst Historic District based on the testimony given and the materials submitted to the findings of fact.
Is it technically inconsistent? Do we have to say that it's technically inconsistent?
I think it's consistent.
Consistent.
Okay.
And is there any conditions, the 3 trees being removed from the property?
May I make a friendly amendment? The amendment would be that the applicant has an alternate solution than the one he has documented, which would be to save one of the 2 trees on the island and cut down 1 tree on the right property line. I would say we're voting to allow that one option.
Second. Okay, this is
Have
it
you-
again.
For the record, so it's clean, I'm gonna have you remake that if you don't mind, Joe.
We approve the 1 tree
second.
being saved from the island and a removal of a tree from the side of the property with no more than 3 trees removed from the property,
Perfect.
Right, the front right-hand side.
front right-hand side.
Motion made by Joe Everson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Karen Mathis. All those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Okay, congratulations, you have your COA. Thank you. Okay, let's
Ready?
move on to our 3rd and final case.
Last one, this is for 65 Kelly Road. Our applicant is Scott Brown, and the owners are David and Susan Raff. The purpose of this public hearing is to consider a major certificate of appropriateness within the Pinehurst Historic District for the addition of a screen porch, deck, and sunroom at 65 Kelly Road. Additionally, the applicant is proposing to replace the roof, the siding, the street-facing shutters, the front door, and painting the garage door. The materials and colors are consistent with the Village of Pinehurst Historic standards. The property is identified as Moore County PID number 000-25588. The primary structure was built in 1989, and the property is plus or minus 484 acres and 0.484 acres in size. The painting of the garage door could be approved by staff as minor work, but all other work requires a major COA. The major work includes the replacement of architectural details that changes the design or materials from the existing details, replacement of roofing with a different material or style, new construction or additions not considered minor work, and also minor work not approved by the village planner. As you can see here, this is the hatched area, 65 Kelly Road, and all the adjacent properties, which includes Pinehurst Elementary. And here is a couple front view pictures of the house from the right side and the left side. Another front view picture and a rear yard picture. And here is a site plan, and you can see this is where the additions will go in the back, the porch, the deck, and the sunroom. Here are some building elevations. Back here, you can see where the additions will be on these elevations. And here are a couple of the materials. Here's the proposed window. Here's the proposed new front door and the color that they would like to have the front door. This is the example of the hardy plank for the siding, soffit and trim, and the color that they would like to paint it. Here is an example of the shutters and the color that they would like to paint those. The deck material will be pressure treated wood, and the roof is going from a 3-tab shingle to an architectural shingle, as well as the siding will be an upgrade from, it's currently vinyl siding now, so it will be an upgrade to hardy plank siding. The applicant has submitted an application and provided an additional documentation and attempt to satisfy the burden of proof. The commission will need to determine if the replacement of the architectural details that changes the design or materials from the existing details, replacement of roofing with a different material or style, or new construction or additions not considered minor work is congruous with the historic district and meets the historic district standards. At this time, staff would like to submit the following into the record: the staff report with attachments and exhibits, the presentation and the application and the applicant's materials and exhibits, and I will take any questions from the board if you have any for me.
Thank you, Michael. Without objection, staff's testimony is entered into the record. Fellow commissioners, any questions for staff?
Yes. The siding replacement, are they replacing existing siding or only adding new siding on the new addition?
The whole house is being replaced.
The whole house?
Yeah, it's the whole house.
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no additional questions for staff, looks like there's an applicant's team here. Whoever's going to be speaking on behalf of the application, I'd welcome you up. And if anyone additionally wants to speak, I can swear you all in now. We'll just do it a la carte. So, okay. Well, I'll come have you stand up, introduce yourself, and then if you need to talk in a few minutes, if you wish to, then I don't have to swear you in again. I'll start with this gentleman on the left.
Scott Brown, B-R-O-W-N.
Thank you. Just, can I grab you in that mic, Scott?
Yeah.
Okay.
Scott Brown, B-R-O-W-N.
Thank you, and
David Raff, R-A-F-F.
perfect. If you'd both raise your right hands. Let's find my script here. You think I know this off by heart. Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give to the commission with respect to this application shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much. Absolutely. Have a seat. Yes, Mr. Brown, if you can just make sure we catch you in that mic.
Yeah.
So you've heard staff's presentation of the application. Anything in addition you'd like to add?
I don't think so. Everything should be in there that you need to know.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we may have some questions for you.
All right.
Fellow commissioners?
Question time?
Absolutely. Roll on, David.
The existing house is all Dutch lap, is that right?
Correct. Vinyl, Dutch lap.
Vinyl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're going from vinyl to hard.
I have no more questions.
There's
It's an upgrade.
there's several upgrades as well as roofing materials and things like that.
Yeah, I was going to bitch about the lack of Dutch lap, but I'll take what I can get.
No, it'll be all straight lap, hardy.
Thank you.
I mean, on the whole, we love to see applications where there's instead of like for like, there's a like for improvement. So
Yeah.
we appreciate that. And I think there's some thoughtful, craftsman-like updates coming to this house, which looks great. I have a question on the garage. Typically, for new construction, front-facing garages is not something that we would typically support or be in favor of. Obviously, this house it's pre-existing front-facing garage. I guess, fellow commissioners, the question on the door being painted black, just want to point that out. We don't typically see black garages.
One today on Barrett, on the way,
Is that
there's
Barrett?
one that's close to the house that we talked about earlier today, style, and it has black garage door.
Front-facing?
Yeah, I have to say, I agree with Richard. Front-facing, now screaming at you black square, as opposed to painted this siding color, might be a way to, yes, sir.
And I don't know if I have an issue.
That's a mistake. It's gonna be painted the same color as the siding.
Oh, it says
I'm
black.
sorry.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you,
Does.
Dave.
Yeah, on 114, on exhibit 114.
There we go.
Or
That's why
A
we swore you in.
114.
Okay, you're making me a little nervous there with my colleagues. I
Sorry about that.
just wanted to, okay. Yeah, because all the other changes, the lighter paint, the tones, that would have stuck out a little bit there.
Yeah.
Especially moving from the existing white. So. Okay, so it's not going to be black, and it's
Oh,
going to match the
sorry.
existing. It's going to be painted white.
It'll be,
Or what-
yeah.
Okay.
Not painted white, sorry, did I?
Feather down.
Feather
Right.
down.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay. You're welcome to have a seat. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
All right, thank you.
One comment for the applicant before you sit down. You are replacing shutters. Please read the rules on shutters, since they're not showing up on your drawings. We can't point to
We're just
anything.
painting the shutters.
Oh, you're just painting them.
Yes.
Oh, I saw an example of what looked like new shutters. Okay, I stand corrected. So far, you got all the right answers.
Okay, I believe you can now have a seat.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any member of the public who wishes to present any evidence, either in support or in opposition of this application? This would be the opportunity to come forward, seeing the massive hordes of people here, and we will continue to move on, and we'll officially go ahead and close the record in this case. Need for deliberation, fellow commissioners, or is someone ready to make a motion?
I can make a motion.
There we go. Take it away, Kara.
All right. I move that the Historic Preservation Commission approve a certificate of appropriateness, COA 2025-00057, and find the proposed major work at 65 Kelly Road is consistent with historic district standards and is deemed congruous with the Pinehurst Historic District based on the testimony given, the materials submitted. Sorry, I had a question. I just remembered.
Black door.
Nope. The trees tagged out front.
Trees are not included here.
Okay.
I think, hold on.
There was no discussion about trees.
Yeah.
between
Okay.
The applicant. and-
Okay, I'll do it again.
Have you say just in the application, the applicant has stated on record that there was a mistake in
Yes.
the door, and the
Okay.
door will be X color.
Sorry, let me do this again.
Nope, you got it.
I just blacked out for a second. Okay. All right, I move that the Historic Preservation Commission approve a certificate of appropriateness and find the proposed major work at 65 Kelly Road is consistent with historic district standards and is deemed congruous with the Pinehurst Historic District based on the testimony given, the materials submitted, and the findings of fact. With the note that in the application shows that the garage door will be painted black, but it will actually be painted feather down.
Thank you for that
Second.
motion, Kara. Second by David Herring. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
None opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, you have your COA. Thank you.
Okay.
Um, Okay, that concludes the public hearing. I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing and return to the regular commission meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Kara. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Joe Iverson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The public meeting is now closed, and we are on the regular meeting. You are all welcome to observe and stay if you wish, but only members of the commission and its staff may speak at this time. I think there's some minor work items to review. Anything of note on the minor work?
I just had a question. So why is construction of a restroom minor? Is that because it's village owned? I think it's the Fair Barn.
It is the Fair Barn, or it's the restaurant.
If it's internal
Oh,
to the
oh, oh,
building.
yes.
It's an accessory building in the rear of the yard. It's going to be on the harness track area, so that can be staff approval.
Interesting. Okay.
Any other questions?
From me. Any questions? Okay, the next meeting date is 6/26, and that will be my last meeting.
Oh,
Then I'll hand over the reins.
To David.
no, no.
I know we have a meeting coming up that we'll chat about that. If there's no other business, someone make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Joe
Second.
Iverson, second by Kara Mathis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.